working on a settlement agreement. So I don't know how you can come before the Board of Selectmen and argue that it's not really a settlement agreement and then bill us, or bill you, the taxpayers, for working on a settlement
We
agreement.
need to be careful because those minutes are still executive session.
I didn't say nothing about
I'm just saying. Bud,
Just a little math on my,
Bob, you're next.
yeah, I just did a little math on my calculator. I know you said it was $165 an hour for K&P.
Yep.
But when they do the job twice, for us, that's $330.
Bob?
I just want to, make something clear that there was an outburst here, and it was because you tried to make it look like this was a personal issue that Julie doesn't like K&P. And I think you now know that there are a lot of people in this building that don't trust K&P.
No,
And so if there's extra money involved, I don't care. I would like to have somebody that I can trust.
Okay, that's your opinion. I wasn't doing that, but that's fine. Joe?
On the two issues, it's a trust and the
Joe?
The
reason why I don't care for K&P, because if you were at, and I know you were there, and I know all was there, at the town meeting when there was a ton of people in the auditorium, I asked a question directly to you, Chris. Who changed all the articles that were in
Yeah, in the warrant.
You looked at the town council, you asked her question, her answer to you was, I don't know. That is a blatant lie, because it even says in your warrant, in your things at the selectman's office, phone calls from the town coordinator on changing some of the articles. So, how can you have a firm that will say right in front of everybody, I don't know? They're sketchy at best. Get rid of them.
Yes.
I don't believe the town should rehire K&P because there's just way too much controversy with them. My question is, are there any references from other towns who may have used either of the other firms?
I'm sure.
Those are included in the packets, the proposals. One of the criteria we look for in all the proposals that were sent out were, do you represent towns with a certain population, like under 7,000? Some of them do, some of them represent like between 7 and 10, and they give a list of that, and there's a list of references within each proposal from each firm.
We've got a couple extra of these.
Will?
Just to address your thing of saying that dollar-wise it's cheaper. It's not necessarily cheaper if you end up having them go out and do work that they haven't come before the board and got authorization. And that's kind of what I hear has happened with J&P. So we're probably better off looking at another firm, even though it may be a little expensive, and you have a town coordinator who'll end up monitoring that. By the way, you'll have an advisory board that will also be watching as how much money is spent on a regular basis and asking questions.
Kirk?
Just one quick thing. I can't believe I actually had the same exact thing that Joe had. Putting everything else aside, as far as who did this and call this person a liar and something about deceitful. To me, the biggest strike against K&P is that we went to a town meeting with a tampered warrant. They're representing every single 8,000 people in this town. They let that town meeting move forward. To me, that should be the only reason you need to say, you're out of here, let's get some. They didn't look out for us. They looked out for us, like you, and I don't care who they were.
Sure.
We seem to all get together. A big purchase we recently made, a 252 Baldwinville Road with a shoddy job with a no 21E before, no, but all the other papers that it never got to not the purchase and sale, but the settlement statement. The settlement statement and all that stuff. Where was K&P then? Where were they doing their due diligence in their
couple of points to make. How I feel about K&P are based on facts. It's not opinion. I have lots and lots of facts that they have let this town down. Sue was speaking about 252 Baldwinville Road. They didn't even follow their own criteria on how to purchase a municipal building, which is listed on their website. There was no appraisal. There was no building inspection. There was no 21E done. We purchased that building based on the assessed value from 2 years prior and managed to negotiate a higher price. That's what we did. These people were not looking out for our town's best interest. Another point that Diana raised. I believe Mr. Ritter was contacted by Leonard Koppelman himself on multiple occasions, and I would like Mr. Ritter to speak to that.
You don't have to if you don't want to. It's totally up to you.
I think it's time to clear the air on this matter. I interviewed in the town of Templeton. I don't remember the exact date, but it was December of the year 2011. I left here at about 8:30, 9 o'clock and went home, got in my car, and drove to my then regular job in the town of Hatfield, which, as you may know, is Northampton, Massachusetts, very far from here. At 9:10 a.m. the next morning, my private line, which no one has the number to, rang, and it was Leonard Koppelman on the telephone telling me that I was ill-advised to consider taking a job in the town of Templeton. I can back that up with my own handwritten transcription of that telephone call. When I hung up the phone, I was determined that I'd fight hard to take this job. But that's not the end of the story. I was hired grudgingly for a one-year contract. And as you may know, there was a decision after a recall election to change town council, which is the will of the town. And shortly after that election, the select board met and had a special meeting on a Thursday night to change town council and fire BB&M and rehire Koppelman and Page. I sat in that meeting and listened, and Koppelman and Page was rehired. I came and reported to work at the town office the following morning, and shortly after 9 o'clock, which would be February 17th, it was a Friday morning, the phone rang, and it was Leonard Koppelman, now speaking as town council, who advised me, I have handwritten transcription notes of this conversation as well, advising me that I should negotiate immediately to terminate my contract with the town, and that if I didn't, they would make it very difficult for me in open court.
That's disgusting.
Those are facts. I can sit on the witness stand and swear to them.
And I was sitting in his office the 17th when he took that call.
Are you all set, Jeff?
Yep, that's it.
Mr. Machete?
I think this select board is trying to say, let the people speak. Well, I think they all spoke. Now, it's up to you to make the decision. If you didn't hear this, you're all deaf.
What's that?
Dan? I think that's Dan.
Regarding the statements that Mr. Ritter just expressed concerning Mr. Copeland, under whose direction did he make those calls?
It wasn't us. Well, it wasn't Jeff and I. I don't think it was Virginia. No.
It was not me.
Wyatt. And?
I understand the composition of the select board has changed, but I still believe that the town council is supposed to take the direction from the board of the selectmen, not an individual who happens to be a select board member. Therefore, there should be some discussion and a vote before any of those kinds of actions are taken. And if there were none,
There was.
I'd like to understand why there were none. how it's allowed to be addressed at the point we are at today.
There was no discussion on any of that, just to let you know.
Would you like to correct that situation or allow us to propagate it?
Only if you have something new. I want to move on. I don't know your name.
Darren, now we'll...
Okay.
You know what?
Yes.
I believe AMP thinks we owe them money. There's an outstanding bill. I think it should be sent to Mr. Columbus. And I don't think that we should pay them. We're paying them enough in emotional heartbreak, aggravation, and grief. We've overpaid them. We have paid them more than they have ever been worth.
Any more discussion from the board? Okay, see? Peter?
Four years of voting, this floor can vote.
No, we're all voting, Peter.
Why should all? If a man has a case going against him in the town, and that board,
He does not
He
have
does
any
not.
case. He doesn't have
There
any
is no
case.
case going.
that's what you did on Richmond, why you talk?
Peter, there is no case going against anybody on this board that I am aware of. And if you can prove otherwise, prove it. Otherwise, close it. Now, before I take a vote, I just want to ask if there's a reason why you picked them over Miracle Connell, who pretty much can provide the same services, other than it says their litigation rates are higher, much higher than their regular rate. I'm just,
Well, when you look in the package, litigation rates are substantially higher. So you don't know what you're going to get,
okay.
you know.
And
what's
it's
gonna
the
come
same
up
for
during the year.
Deutsch,
Right,
Williams, and Brooks.
right. So that was
different
what
attorneys.
went into my decision
Okay.
making.
And I
between those
obviously
two
understand
firms.
why the other one's no
Right.
good, because they can't do labor.
Right.
We had that issue last year.
The man up in the back.
Yes, Frank?
I believe that we have a competent coordinator now.
Yep.
Even if you pay more money per hour, I got a lot of confidence in Mr. Ritter, by everything going through him, like before, the planning board, we had double coverage, somebody would ask a question, call the thing, you give the answer, somebody else answers the same question. I believe Mr. Ritter is saving us a lot of money by everything going through him.
I totally agree. And actually,
The staff itself, the dollar cents per hour is not as important as Mr. Ritter, but I feel confident with his job.
Yep. Actually, we had that discussion on Thursday, Mr. Ritter and I did, so. Yes,
Yeah, you've got a question before we move on. Each year we go out for bids for goods and services. It's pretty much a mirrored thing that goes on year after year for, I'm just gonna use for hot top as an example. Going with a new attorney, or you have to stay with K&B, I hope you don't do that. But does it have to go before town attorney every single year for the same contract, the same words? The only thing that changes is the date.
well, that's why Jeff's gonna be in charge of anything that's gonna go to town council.
Town bylaw that has to happen, I'm asking that question now.
I can answer that question. No, you are not.
Thank you.
If you have confidence in your contract vehicle, if it's a good vehicle that's up to date and the engine oil has been changed frequently, you go with that vehicle.
My question is, again, my reply is, why have you done that over the last 7 years for the same thing over and over?
I can't answer that, to be honest with you, because,
I'm just bringing it to the board's.
yep, very good point.
That's why we have more money there to lay people off.
Okay,
Take a vote.
all right. So the motion and second on the floor is to hire Deutsch, Williams, and Brooks, or Deutsch, Williams, Brooks, excuse me, Dorenzis, and Holland PC for our legal counsel for the fiscal year 2013. We'll start with Pat.
Yes.
Jeff.
Yes.
Virginia.
Yes.
Julie.
Yes.
And I will break tradition of me not voting, and I will vote yes. So, if we can contact them tomorrow, see how soon
I'll make a verbal call tomorrow.
we can have
Letter
them
to follow.
on board.
Also, I presume you would like to execute what's called a client services agreement. It's not a contract, but it's an.
Quiet, please!
Here's the hourly rate, here are the terms and conditions. It's good to have something in writing
Yep.
besides just a letter.
Okay, we'll get them on board ASAP and send a letter to Compliment Page.
The thing is, like the litigation.
And do we want to formalize the process for using town council?
I'm sorry?
Do we want to formalize the process for using town council?
Yeah, everybody goes through Jeff?
Yeah, do you want me to make a motion to that?
Yeah, that'd be great.
Okay. I would like to make a motion that in order to access town council, all requests need to be in writing to the town, through the town coordinator.
Second.
We don't need any discussion, I don't think.
I'd like a point of discussion.
Oh, okay, go ahead.
In writing and approved by the town coordinator prior to going ahead with the call. Sending me in writing that you're going to contact them is not the same thing
No,
as.
approved.
No.
Yes,
We'll review and approve it, see if we can do it for free or cheaply, then
Right.
you can go ahead.
Right.
Reviewed and approved.
And I think we need to also let the town council know that nobody can go directly to them without your approval
Will do, will do.
as part of our
Agreement.
agreement. Kirk?
Yeah, I just, one quick side note, with planning, I don't know this law firm, but sometimes in planning, we use applicants' money, so we're able to hire experts in particular fields.
Yep.
So I would hope that would still be the case. I mean, it's not, we're not going off the town's legal time.
Yep.
A lot of times the applicant's money, you need to go with the right firm. We've used Matthew Bobrowski, in several different, especially ways, depending on what kind of subdivision or whatever you go with, for legal advice.
Okay.
Not saying I have any problem
Yeah, I don't think-
with these guys, but we got
I think we're talking about just our budgeted.
Yeah, I think we're just talking about the budget, whatever has to go through our budget. Yep. Yep.
So
the
we need to amend the motion.
I'll make a motion to amend that motion.
Okay. And you seconded it, right, Virginia?
Approve.
Yes, I did.
Okay. So it's been made and seconded. Pat?
Yes.
Jeff?
Yes.
Virginia?
Yes.
And Julie?
Yes.
All right. Are we done with town council?
I do believe so.
Okay. Any old business before we go on to new business?
I wanted to bring up the accountant.
That's, oh, I thought that was in the,
I don't see it under new, so
no, I don't either.
do you want to bring it up under new last?
No, we can go with it right now.
Okay. I meant to ask you this beforehand. All right.
Go ahead.
I'm bringing up under new business.
Or old business.
Old business, I'm sorry, town accountant or lack thereof. We've received a number of applications, but I believe there was some question about how we posted the town accountant. So right now, we are working, we're fortunate that we have people who are pitching in so that we can get payroll done. We have an issue. We need, I believe, some discussion on how we're going to resolve our lack of town accountant. We are going to need someone to close the books and do the work of a town accountant. I believe part of the misconception or problem came up with whether we needed a CPA or not. Our former town accountant was a CPA. Most town accountants are not CPAs. When you look around to our neighboring towns, the person who is the town accountant, whether it's full-time or part-time, is not a CPA. So I think we need to have some discussion on the board how we're going to handle this. We have a stopgap in place, short-term, but we really, I think, need to be proactive in this because I think we posted the position a while ago and we're still at ground zero.
Jeff, do you want to?
I can brief this if you want a little background.
Sure.
First of all, we are, my word, temporizing payroll and vendor warrants. I spoke today with someone, first of all, I want to thank Kate Meyer for stepping in last week, a short week with a Wednesday holiday.
She made sure you got
She
paid.
made sure you got paid last week. And she's continuing to help us out. herself, but this is not her day job, and we can't run the risk of burning her out either. I have found another temporary help employee to come in for the next month to just enter data, to do the key punching of accounts payable. So that will speed things up. And all of that is temporary. We're going to bring in a firm, I have not heard back from them, that our auditor recommends. The auditor can't do this work for us because they cannot check their own work. But in order to close the fiscal 12 books, we need to have someone who's certified simply come in and close the accounts and balance them out. So we're working to get a separate firm in the next 30 days to close the fiscal 12 books and set us on a straight and narrow path to fiscal 13. Everything I've said so far has nothing to do with the vacant town accountant position, which is still vacant. And with the need, I do respectfully agree with Virginia Wilder that we need some oversight of the town, whether through the accountant's office, the treasurer's office, a CPA to not work for the town, but to oversee the town's work, so that we make sure we don't accidentally misstep, which would have a dramatic effect on bond rating and, the future finances of the town. So in a discussion 10 days ago, it was informally agreed that we would try to go forward and find an accountant, what you and I understand to be an accountant, some kind of permanency, a vendor or an employee or someone who's going to be 12, 15, 18 hours a week in the town offices every week to be the data entry person, to oversee the receivables, to be the accountant, but they would not be responsible for closing the books, the financial oversight that a CPA would provide, and that we would have a second agreement or contract with a firm or CPA to provide that 8 hours a month, 2 4-hour sessions a month to come into the town and make sure that everything's square, that all the books are being kept properly, and to assist us both at town meeting with the budget and at the fiscal year close. So the proposal that we've kicked around but not made a decision on is a two-pronged approach. One, to fill the position of town accountant. We have some candidates, we may want to go back out to bid or not. And secondly, to find a certified public accountant, a part of a big firm, a sole proprietor, we don't know, but someone who would come in 8 hours a month to just, oversee all the work that's being done and bless it, so that we have a clean set of books every month. And that means at the end of the year, you don't have to go back and do work that you should have done back in July and August. That's the plan that we have on the table.
Mr. Chairman?
Go ahead.
I had a couple things under old business. First of all, I'd like to...
Well, can we finish with this discussion first?
Yes.
Okay.
It's,
Just checking.
the part about the CPA was that you get exempt from the way you hire them. The same thing goes if it's under $25,000, you don't have to go out to bid. We don't have to do that. And that's one of the boo-boos we made originally back in April, I believe. So, and somehow that fell through the cracks. It didn't get reposted the proper way. Either somebody working under $25,000 or a CPA, which bypasses some of that, I think it's 30B bidding procurement stuff. So that's kind of our fault that the board dropped the ball on that one. And I'd just like to reiterate what Jeff Ritter said about Kate Myers stepping up in a big, big way, helping us out of a mess. And she's going to, I hope, do that again this week to pay some bills, along with all your town employees getting paid. So her hours got cut, and she lost a little money, and she stepped up to be part of the solution and helped us out, the board, helped out the taxpayers and all the town employees. And she deserves a big thank you for that.
Virginia.
Also, we need to be thanking Tammy Collar because Tammy came in and trained Kate for free And also, I was talking to Tammy yesterday, and she would be willing to come in, once again, for free and try to help catch up some of the reconciliations that got behind with all the changing of people. So we need to thank her in addition.
Sue?
One, I hate sitting at $2 an hour, she's supposed to be getting. And two, I think Tammy needs to be commended, especially when this town cooker, or people in this town cooker crew. I commend her for coming back, for not thinking of doing all of this. I mean, that just shows you the integrity of her. And we lost a very good person there. Number two, I just wanted to reiterate the fact that county and the private sector, extremely different from municipal county. It's like whoever we choose, we need to find somebody who has worked for another town, has done municipal county. Totally different animals.
Two of our applicants actually have town accounting experience. And if we split this job up into two sections, I believe our whole budget for this is only $30,000. So if we do split it up, the person that's doing the data entry would probably be under the $25,000. And so we wouldn't have to go out to bid again. And then the accountant, the CPA is already, we don't have to go out to bid.
So we don't have to go out
we
to
can
bid.
probably get this rolling if we can get it budget-wise to work. I think that's the one thing we have to look at.
How much would a CPA charge? I'm told the number's 90 to 100 an hour, that's the range. And if you do the math, if they work 8 hours a month, that's $9,600 a year. So your $30,000 is now down to $20,400. What can we get for $20,000 by way of an accountant, and how many hours at what rate is really the question.
Yeah.
I think we figured that out.
Yeah, with what, 25 an hour?
25 an hour for 15, was it 15 hours?
Yeah, 15 hours a week.
Yeah.
Or $30 an hour for 10 hours a week. They can just play with the
Yep,
one.
yep. All right, so we've got, I don't know, I'm sure by now everybody's probably read the resumes we had at the office. I know I've read them a couple of times. Maybe we can get a couple interviews set up, and, we can all go in, tell Jeff who we want to interview. I think it's pretty obvious. I think there's only two that have town
Municipal
experience.
Right.
And also know the city and town,
I
is that what
think
it is?
maybe we should just direct Jeff to handle it.
Okay? That's fine.
Works for
Get
me.
to get up the interview set up, you mean, or to
Well,
just
I
do the
don't
whole
even know
thing?
if we really need to do an interview, if it's at the end of the 25.
Well, I mean, if there's two of them, are we going to just let Jeff do the picking, or? If you,
Or appoint a selection board, a selectman, me, and member of the public, whatever.
or finance committee,
Yeah,
maybe?
finance committee, somebody.
Or Sue?
I'm just
Or
looking
Sue.
at time-wise.
Yep.
With-
I think Sue would like to be in on
This
that.
has dragged on for way too long.
Right.
That's fine.
That's the only thing I'm concerned about, because this
Yeah,
really
I-
has gone on.
Yeah, I agree.
So that we don't have to get the whole board together.
Right.
We can bring the candidate as the candidate and appoint.
Sounds
So,
good.
That sounds good to
interview
me.
committee to select a candidate. I'll entertain the notion if you appoint one of you, me, and names a third person.
Sue?
Sue? To be,
Okay.
What we're discussing doing is, because if we're going to separate the two jobs, we'll, as Jeff was saying, we'll be under the $25,000 for the data entry person, accountant, and the CPA, we don't have to go out to bid anyway. If we can financially do it in our budget, then what we want to do is set up a committee of Jeff, a select board member, and maybe you or Debbie, to interview one or two of the people that we have on that.
What I'm asking is, the job consists of, is it basically data entry? Because that was one thing I recently discovered, is how much we're paying the CPA Scott Sawyer to do data entry.
Right.
I mean, data entry is something that,
Right.
I'm thinking, a step 3, I mean, a grade 3,
Yeah.
a grade 4. And then I'm thinking, sitting here thinking, I know there's certain Mass General laws that you work in the account, you can't work in the tax department. Are you allowed as the assistant treasurer,
I don't know.
I think has to be a separation between accountant and treasurer. I do believe,
Yeah, right.
I do believe that is true.
I think they checks and balances and,
Well, sometimes one town has a position treasurer collector, that's combined, so.
Right, so that's what I'm thinking, is that
But
a position?
I think you need to have, for your books, you have to have a treasurer and then an accountant separate.
But then
Yeah.
we should think, we don't have this position created, so does that mean we have to go out to a bid for whatever?
No, if the person we hire is under 25,000 a year, we do not have to go out to bid.
I
That's what
think
Jeff
what
was
Sue is referring to, you do not have a position.
Person, it's not a position
Right.
on paper.
No, right, it's a contract.
Contract that
It's a vendor.
vendor, yeah.
Diane?
So you're proposing that this person who's going to do the data entry, are you
Yep.
saying that's going to be an accountant?
No,
So,
not necessarily.
It's not a CPA.
no, but there's a CPA and there's an accountant.
I think it's just a data entry that knows what city and town data entry is all about. Has done town municipal entry. I didn't mean city and town as the software, I just meant,
Right, so if you're doing data entry, correct me if I'm wrong, if you're doing data entry, you're typing in a check to, I don't know, we're doing the vendor warrants for Bud's department, and we're doing one to CONS Garage for a sticker. Okay, so it was the highway expense, sorry. Okay, but you know what I mean, so you're checking in and you got to know
Right.
where the accounts are going, that's what accounting data
Right.
entry is.
Yeah.
You don't need a CPA to do
Right.
it. You don't need an accountant.
right, the CPA will come in 8 hours a month or whatever.
Right, to make sure that everything's.
To balance, right.
The right account.
Exactly.
The other thing I wanted to mention is I know that we going up when we left the city and town, we should start
Yep.
thinking about this.
Once we get
Okay.
the people hired, that's on our,
The issue was
Yep.
that
It's on our
money
agenda.
would go down because as you're not gonna have to do all the data entry for all the motor vehicle.
Right.
Excise
Yep.
abatements, that kind of stuff.
Dan Keeney.
It sounds to me with the job description has changed.
I can't hear you, Danny.
Sounds to me that the job description has changed since the job was posted. You may want to be careful to repost the position with the new requirements before you make an appointment.
Depending on the job that we post, yes. We want to have the discussion.
Doug?
Because of this data entry position that you're now proposing, there are probably internal candidates that could qualify for that position. So you should, like Dan said, since you changed the requirements, repost it internally like you should do before you post it externally.
Wouldn't it still be a vendor?
Yeah, it's not going to be a town employee, it's going to be a vendor position, first of all. And they have to be qualified to know city government,
Municipal finance.
municipal, postings and things like that. So tape. I'll wait till she changes the tape before we do a vote.
So we're going to get a digital.
All right, we need to go shopping this week for that.
All right.
So I guess, do we go with what we proposed, or do we have to be careful because of what Dan said?
Well,
It depends on whether you really want to reduce the qualifications required for the job or not. I was not proposing the town accountant be a data entry clerk. I think a higher skill level, whether we pay them to do data entry or not, is required of that position. Because you can't expect a CPA to come in 4 hours a couple times a month and do the town's books. You have to have an accounting skill to do the town's books.
That's what I thought you were originally proposing with it. It was still going to be an accountant. It just
And
wasn't.
whether we supplement it with interior help, part-time, data entry clerks, or whether that person does it themselves, we'd have to just see how it goes on a shakedown. We're still going to have this other third party who can do data entry. We could reduce the hours of the accountants because we don't want the accountant doing data entry, we want them doing accounting work.
Right. I actually have the posting for the position. I'm just reading it real quick.
if we didn't specify that it had to be an accountant, he actually probably could pay less too.
That's true. It's a municipal, way to describe it. Because we're not asking them to be the town accountant.
Right.
That's the key.
Right.
Yeah, but I think they get posted this time.
Other than, the only thing in here that they may not be doing is preparing financial, where'd it go? Preparing balance sheets and financial statements.
Sorry, can't hear you, I'm sorry.
I just said, I'm reading the posting, and the only thing that's in here that would be different for them that they wouldn't be doing is probably the balance sheets and income statements.
Correct.
Everything else that's in here is pretty much what we're looking for. If you want to read it, you're more than welcome.
So if we
This is what was in the paper.
took that and renamed it.
So, well, it's still a town accountant. It's just not, that person's just not supposed to work, so.
All right, so what are we deciding? Are we deciding?
I think really what we need to decide is if we want it to specify town accountant or not.
I would say it still needs to be an accountant, not a CPA, which it doesn't say CPA in here anyway. So, if anybody else wants to read it, it's right here.
All right, so we're going to direct the town coordinator to set up interviews with the two candidates who have municipal experience,
Correct.
with a subcommittee of
Sue volunteered.
Sue,
and
Debbie.
myself, yeah. Member of the board?
All right, this specifies a bachelor's degree in accounting. Is that what we're moving into?
Is it recommended or required?
I think it says
Required or
Experience. Minimum requirements.
but if they're not closing the books, I don't know, whatever. Yeah, then we should, if they're accounting, they gotta have that. Is anybody on the board? Now, if you do the interviews during the day, I obviously cannot be on that subcommittee. If you do them in the, after 4:30, then I can be. So it's, I guess it's a question of when you're gonna do them.
Well, I would presume the candidates probably have day jobs and wouldn't mind coming late afternoon or evening anyway. Early, supper time, whatever, after their day job, so we could do it.
Because I wouldn't mind being the town, the select board's person for that.
Okay?
If the board agrees with me.
5 p.m. or later.
Yeah, but no problem.
Okay.
You're gonna
You
have
guys have a problem with that?
Do it too.
Have fun. Just check.
Sue or Debbie or what?
You, Debbie, and Chris.
You're able to be available at 5 or 6 in the evening if we,
Yes, as long as my sleep mastery,
I know,
Just before you do, just read up and make sure that we're okay legally.
yeah.
Did you have something else under old business there, Mr. Bennett?
So,
Oh.
Can we go back? I'm
Sure.
not sure how we ended up
Sorry.
deciding that. Are we going to maintain this requirement or not?
Jeff's going to check the legalities.
Yeah.
I think most of that is pretty much what we need. I would say, yeah.
Okay, well, we just have to be clear because,
Well, I think that's his.
That's fine.
sorry.
That's okay.
I was trying to give it to you.
I have it at home.
I never saw it, so.
Would you like a copy of it? All right, are we all set then?
Yeah, we have an action plan.
Jeff?
Yeah, just a couple things under old business that's been discussed before, but, and it's, you might have seen the senior center work was in a copy of the Gardner News last week or sometime. I just wanted to acknowledge some people have done some work up there, and you can go up and now see the size of the building. You can drive out on the lot and you can actually see, there's a building sitting there now, and you can see the size of the senior center, which is going to be, and somewhere down the line, I believe, when they get it cleaned out, you'll actually be able to walk inside. It's not finished or anything, but they can point out, this is going to be here, this is going to be here. Our Highway Department Director, Bud Chase, he spent a week he was on vacation, and he went up there and worked on his vacation to help get that project done. The Highway Department guys, when he needed some help, they went down there and worked, and his efforts and their efforts have saved you, the taxpayers, about $250,000. So no matter how you feel about Bud, I was having a conversation on the Senior Oversight Committee. Frank Machete and myself were on, along with some other people, but we were having a conversation about this very thing, and we both said, you know, no matter what you think about Bud, no matter what problems you've had, the Highway Department, he and the Highway Department stepped up and did a hell of a job down there, and I'd like to thank him. And another individual sitting back there who's made this project go forward with little fanfare, and every time he takes a step forward, he gets pushed back too. And he's just kept on going, slow and steady. And the man probably, there's a lot of people deserve a lot of credit, but one of the people that deserve the most credit is Doug Morrison. He's kept this project on track. And with all the rigmarole, the fiascos and stuff that's been going on, the town meeting took so many days and this, that, and everything, some of this stuff you just miss it. And I think when employees, Kate, Doug's not an employee, but he's a volunteer, Bud, the crew, when these people step up, I think they deserve to be, thanked, because they did help out you, the taxpayers. And I just wanted to thank Bud and Doug, and I hope you enjoyed your vacation, Bud.
Yes,
Can
Bud.
I add something to that, Mr. Chairman, that Mark Castle, my foreman, sitting in the back here, he was on vacation,
I wasn't aware of that, I'm sorry.
Mark gave up a week of his vacation and worked with me every day at the senior center.
Okay, that's it, I just wanted to...
Joe?
That's my old saying. I want to know when you're going to release the minutes of that meeting.
I don't even know if that last set of minutes has been finalized yet. It's not on our agenda tonight, I know that.
I know, but it's been going on for 5 months now. It's old business.
I understand that, and we explained to you at the last meeting that one of the sets of minutes is being scrutinized because there was an issue.
You told me you would have to read minutes.
We did, but then we
What's the whole...
went over this with you, Joe.
I understand, but you know what, I'm not going to let it go.
Fine, don't let it go.
You know, I'm a part of this town.
I'm telling you, they have not.
I think it's time for you guys on that board to step up and
It
get
is-
those minutes done.
Chris,
Go ahead.
We have approved, and I will authorize the release of the existing 2 sets that have been approved.
Okay.
The other, we have to perfect, that's the word lawyers use, perfect the 3rd set. But 2 sets have been approved by the board in executive session. I was waiting and holding till all 3 are ready so you could have them all at once. But since there is public outcry, I'd be happy tomorrow in the office to release the 2 sets that have been approved by the board. And it's up to me because I'm the affected party. So I'll release them at 9 a.m. tomorrow morning, the 2 that have been approved. The 3rd set...
I'll wait for the 3rd one.
Okay. Well, I leave it on
I will be back for the 3rd one.
Okay.
I'll bring donuts and coffee.
Dan,
To executive session tonight, I don't see where you can...
we don't have them. I don't think they've... Anyway. Dan?
On the topic of minutes in general,
Yep.
the most recent copy of the select board meeting minutes at the town clerk's office is sometime in April.
Yeah, I was noticing that we haven't approved any minutes in a while.
I wondered if there's a reason for that, and if there is no reason for that, then we try to,
All I can say is we've been very short-staffed at the office.
and you're working fewer hours now than you were
That's right.
2 weeks
I mean,
ago.
up until,
As we all are.
up until last Monday, we didn't have both girls in the office for like a month. So,
I know
and Jeff wasn't there. Well, that's part of it. But yes, I noticed the same thing when I looked at the agenda
May I
tonight.
suggest that part of your duties then, as a board, sit together as a board, prepare those minutes, and post them so the public can understand what you've been doing.
They will get done.
Please.
Yes.
I have a real hard time with the tape recorder kind of thing you guys use. Dad says to me, oh, look at the tapes I have from when the kids were little. Guess what? They are so fragile that they disintegrate when you touch them. When you get rid of that damn thing, you get a digital recorder.
We already voted to do that.
Unless somebody deletes it,
We have a digital recorder.
then put it in the safe.
All right. Okay, can we go to new business? Before we go to the four that are on here, Bud wants to talk to us about something, I believe. You all have the letter?
Oh, is this one?
Kate handed it out to
Yeah,
us.
okay.
Oh, okay. I said Bud would like to discuss, so.
All right, so I just want to talk to the board and bring you up to speed on some problems that we got with vehicles. I'm going to start out with this vehicle because she asked me to go first. It went down with an inspection sticker, it's rejected. There's too much rot on it. We have some rocker panels on it that are with a cause for the rejection sticker. Mechanic price them out, $200 to buy the panels and then labor to put them on. But that wasn't the only problem. Once you put it up on the lift and look, the frame's got 2 cracks on it. One holding the front driver's catch and the other one in the back where it holds the spring shackle. The frame itself is just very thin, pretty much rusted out. The whole, I actually took some pictures on my camera to show you, was not able to print them out. But you pass my camera around if you want to take a look at it. So here we sit with that vehicle right now, it's rejected, it's not safe to be on the road, and our mechanic, as good as he is not comfortable welding the frame. It's because there's not much to weld.
I don't blame you.
And in the location the cracks are. So now the assessors is down a vehicle, and we have it red light at the highway bar.
Now can I add my 2 cents?
Sure.
Your turn.
Okay, it was brought up by a selectman today, why there are 2 people in my office, and that Winchendon only has 1 person doing everything up there. And I would like to point out that Winchendon outsources all their field work, all their field work for the building permits that people have added on and those stuff to their house. They also go out totally for their revale and totally for their cyclical. We do everything in-house. That's why this vehicle is so important to us. Because a few years ago, we brought it all in-house because over a 3-year period, just the cyclical alone cost us town over $110,000, which in today's market would probably be $150,000. Now that's just the cyclical. That's just every house having to be looked at every day. That's not talking the building permits we have to do. And the point is this, I kind of wish people would talk to me before they say, oh, well, Winchendon does this, why do we even need people there, why do we need a truck, whatever. This is why we need the truck, this is my very busy time of year. I have to go out, June 30th is my end of, I have to get everybody who pulled the building permit through June 30th, I've got to go out and inspect and add it onto the field card, I've got to go out and measure all that stuff. I also have to do all my sales stuff, and I have to do part of my cyclical every year because we're going to be down here and I'm going to do all this junk, okay? You guys want to just say scrap the truck? Well, then you better be prepared to pay Vision $2. And that's the deal. Sorry, I need a vehicle. Got any extras?
Hey, Sheriff Vaughn,
Sure did.
just an observation that since we brought that in-house, we've found many mistakes that were made.
Thank you.
And we have, Sue has knowledge of the people that were driving around on that, so she's able to make corrections. I think every time she goes through the cycle, there's more corrections being made. So if we do decide to outsource that, we risk the quality of this.
I don't have a problem with that. I have a problem. Where can we find a vehicle? That's the question.
And seeing as I can't get somebody with fix my Ford Ranger. I can't get off the table. I can't get off the table, my own truck.
I've been thinking about it, this mechanic, pointed it out this morning,
Yep.
what the vehicle was in, what shape it's in, trying to put my head together of what vehicles that the assessors could use in the meantime until such a time something can be replaced. And I'm not speaking, I'm just saying what I think, my opinion here. The Board of Health's office is going to be closed on Fridays. I know Sue's, she's closed on Friday. There's a vehicle there that's available.
She'll work Tuesday through Friday and use her vehicle.
You still get your long weekend.
Unfortunately, a lot of vehicles that would be in a position where, the assessor's office to use. I mean, we got little dump trucks and whatnot, but I'm not thinking Sue wants to drive one.
I want to see you drive the loader down the road.
We need a loader, that's the next thing.
Nobody's driving that road.
We don't have a loader anymore.
I know.
Didn't I hear somewhere where Light Water was giving Highway one of their surplus vehicles along with the bucket truck?
The only thing I heard about was that there was a bucket truck going to be replaced and they were going to surplus their old one to the highway department so that we may upgrade ours. I heard nothing about a pickup truck. That's the first time. Well, you're the second person that told me about that was today. So I'm not aware of that.
I think we're meeting tomorrow night. I can check on it. I haven't heard anything about it either.
In the meantime, what do I do about the vehicle?
Okay.
I mean,
Question.
if Phil was gone all day today with his vehicle. Lord out, so I don't even have that. I mean, conservation don't have that.
No, he didn't have.
I put my brain together to think what's not being used, that's available for the assessors.
Cemetery have anything?
I actually see the
Golf cart?
Chief Whitaker left. I didn't know.
Yeah.
I didn't have an opportunity to ask him if he had something up there that's not a Martin Cruiser that would be available. I'm reaching out.
Yeah.
You got to reach out at this point.
Doug?
I do.
I don't know if that's interested or not, but I've got an old Yukon, it's a 95, it's in good shape, it's got a sticker in February, we'd be willing to donate it to the assessors if you guys are interested in it. Sue and Bud are welcome to come over and look at it and decide.
What color is that? Okay.
Is he donating it?
So, Doug, is this an elderly vehicle or is this a private vehicle?
Just
Okay, and you don't need it or?
No, actually, since we bought a new car, we don't have it, it's not even licensed, right?
Oh, it's not registered?
So are you passing that on as a gift or are you borrow? I mean, now borrow.
No, I mean, certainly, we would donate it if you guys are interested.
Okay, well, my question was, if it's not registered, to register it with blue plates, it would have to be a gift of some
Right.
sort.
Right.
It would have to be the town's property.
For which you get a tax deduction if you donate it, so.
It's worth about 10 grand.
Well, okay, guys, I'll bring it up tonight, and I found some vehicles, so,
Okay, thank you.
Well, I think we have to vote on accepting it.
All right,
For the assessment.
I will make a motion to accept a very generous donation of a vehicle from the Morrisons for the assessors, to be used by the assessors.
Share with the treasurer's office, which he has to go to.
Right, we talked about that.
Do I have a second?
I'll second that before he changes his mind.
I would like to add, I think we need to, pending that it can pass inspection. Inspection. Thank you. But I'm sure it'll be fine. So, any other discussion? Yes. Yes.
It's already written down, yeah.
Pat? Yes. Jeff?
Yes.
Virginia?
Yes.
Julie?
Yes.
Very good. Thank you very much. call that going above and beyond. Yeah, but you, all right.
Well, I wish my next two subjects were just as
Was just as easy?
You just don't know. Try it.
Well, I was just putting you away.
I did not make extra copies, but I believe your office has that. That's from AECom.
Yeah.
That's an amendment they want moving forward for Baldwin Road project.
Yeah.
There's a breakdown there of $131,200 additional of what we've already paid them, which is approximately $442,000 for the services for Baldwin Road, which brings the grand total up to $573,200 right there.
Yes.
For engineering services for Baldwin Road.
What was the budget for that? Do we know?
I'm sorry?
What was the budget for that originally?
I don't recall.
Where are we?
6 years ago. There's been, since we started the project, there's been 5 or 6 amendments that got us to this point. Now, what's driving all of this is Mass DOT. I'm going to tell you that right now. Mass DOT, they're nickel diamonds, they've got so many I's and T's into this project because federal funds are involved in it, changes the guidelines. I know I was on a conference call with Boston and our firm for 50 minutes talking about trees and replanting them, and you wouldn't believe what we went through. I'm not saying that it's that $573,000 that they're looking for is about 10% of the project that's allowed by law. So they're at their 10% right now. I've had numerous conversations with AECom about these type of invoices and prices. I strongly request that the Board of Selectmen, and I'll set the meeting up, to have AECom come up here and try to justify $131,200. I have a big problem with that. I have a problem with why we're at where we're at, $442,000, now we can add it next. First, and what I call in my eyes, a simple project.
Yes.
Where are we with the, I know that originally we were going to do a full thickness road and now we're just paving, or where are we with that?
I'll shed some light on that. The original project was planned that certain areas we're going to call a full depth rebuild. Only certain areas where they did test borings and our engineers with the results came back. Their recommendation was to do a full depth in certain areas. One was by the high school and some of the deep areas of the sewer project. Well, now that the project has escalated up to this point in Mass DOT's eyes, they want to scale the project down to just do a cold plane and overlay, because in their opinion, Bolivar Road will not settle anymore. It is settled over the last 12 years since the sewer went to Templeton, thereabouts. I may not be exactly correct on that. I don't agree with that. The reason, and letters were sent out to Al Stegman. I sent a letter out to Al Stegman with the board's approval. And I know some feedback has come from Senator Brewer and Gold.
We have a letter.
I saw it.
Did receive a call from Boston from her first name was Lori, asking about the letter that I sent. She's like, what's this all about? And I kind of went into it a little bit about it. I told her that in the town of Templeton, we are not happy with the scale back of the project. All the money that we spent on Chapter 90, with our Chapter 90 money to get us to where we are now, it got shifted around. So I know that ball's bouncing somewhere in Boston and the Senate. So.
The letter that's in our office is saying that they've asked, Senator Brewer's office, I believe it was, has asked them to reconsider that and go with the full thickness.